First in high definition. Live, local, late breaking. This is WMBF News Today at 5.
Our school students are getting healthier options during breakfast and lunch, but is it all going to waste? I'm live with the answer.
And attendance at CCU is growing fast. I'll give you an exclusive look at brand new housing being built to keep up.
Then, folks, it's the dash cam video everyone will be talking about today. A commuter plane clips a bridge, plunges into the river below. Unbelievable stories of survival coming up.
And make sure to leave some extra time this morning to warm up that car. We are in for a very cold start.
Yeah, First Alert meteorologist Marla Branson has what you can expect when you step out right now.
Stepping out right now, bundle up. We are talking temperatures around 34 for Myrtle Beach, but 31 in North Myrtle, 30 for Conway as well as Florence, and 29 in Darlington. I think once we get into the later in the morning hours, closer to 7 a.m., folks in the PD will have temperatures in the upper 20s. We're going to see mostly sunny skies to start out, but then clouds start to build in as temperatures will climb into the mid-50s today for both the Grand Strand and then the upper 50s for the PD this afternoon. So warmer this afternoon than we have been. It should be pretty nice for us. Then we notice the clouds start to build in. Right now, just a few high, thin clouds, not too bad. It is going to be a gorgeous start to the day. But here is the system that we're tracking. It's moving out of the Gulf of Mexico. We're going to have an area of low pressure kind of right up our coastline. And that's going to bring rain chances into the forecast for later on today. I'll have an hour-by-hour look at that coming up at 5:15.
All right, Marla, thanks so much. Your kids have been eating a lot healthier at school lately thanks to new federal regulations.
Katrina Helmer joins us live in the studio to see how these healthier meals and snacks are standing up in the lunch line.
Well, I found out at first the changes were a bit shocking for Horry County students. The district initially saw a 3% drop in school meals, but the schools are now getting more creative in their meal options, which is helping sales. The standards are much stricter now: low fat, low sugar, and low salt. Cafeterias are also required to serve more variety and larger portions of fruits and vegetables, and calorie limits are based on age. Since the program kicked off in 2012, schools are required to meet these standards to get federal meal reimbursements. Many schools were worried the strict guidelines would drive kids to refuse to eat altogether. I stopped by Ocean Bay Middle School to see how things are working out for students there. The principal tells me they have actually not seen a drop in their lunch sales since offering the new healthier meals. She admits students were a little hesitant at first, but the school staff regularly keeps in touch with the kids to see what they like and what they don't.
One of the things that we've had to work hard to promote healthy foods to students, because initially they were, oh no, you don't have this, but I think as we're doing a better job in the presentation of it and the understanding of it too for students, why we're looking at healthier foods.
The only drop the school has seen is in the cafeteria's a la carte sales. The reason for the drop is because they no longer serve the old popular options of chicken wings and sweets. But Principal Huddle tells me students are liking the newer options of baked potato chips and whole grain Rice Krispie treats. Reporting live in the studio, Katrina Helmer, WMBF News.
Coastal Carolina University brings in almost 10,000 students to our area every year, and with that enrollment number expected to just go up, 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 the school is bustling with construction right now. Jenna DeAngelis is live from one of the campus construction sites this morning, and Jenna, I guess it's no question we can see progress being made there, right?
Yeah, David, everything seems to be headed in the right direction here. Now, I'm at the site of one of Coastal's biggest projects, brand new student housing. It sits right behind the HTC Center here on campus. Now, I got a private tour of the construction site, and I'm going to take you behind these gates. You're looking at progress made so far to the school's new student housing. This is an $85 million project. The university is in the process of building 4 new buildings, which will add more than 1,200 beds onto campus. The facility will also feature offices for staff, large community spaces, and high security. I'm told development and funding have been in the works for years now. This is a 2-phase project. The university will open 2 buildings at a time. The first phase of this project will be complete once new students hit the campus this fall. This will allow for more students to live on campus and eventually make room for a larger student body.
First and foremost thing is we've grown to an extent where our original infrastructure couldn't satisfy how many students we had, couldn't match that student number. So mostly it's we're catching up with our growth.
Harrison Justin told me constantly developing the look and feel of the campus can not only keep students here longer, but bring new students to campus. So coming up, how this impacts our entire area as a whole. Reporting live in Conway, Jenna DeAngelis, WMBF News.
5:05 is your time, and new details this morning about the man arrested after running away from a traffic stop. Officials with South Carolina Highway Patrol say Lionel Peoples was arrested and taken to J. Reuben Long Detention Center. This follows a trooper trying to pull Peoples over near Carolina Forest Boulevard yesterday. That attempted stop ended with a crash, and Peoples ran from the scene. So far, charges have not been released. Statistically, every other day this year, an armed robbery hit an Horry County business. What you may find hard to believe, that number is actually down from last year. But the level of violence is what really has officers worried. The two Sun House convenience store clerks killed during armed robberies were the first deadly armed robberies in Horry County in 12 years. Now a task force is in place dedicated solely to identifying and finding the men behind the mass. It will take skilled detective work to find them, along with figuring out what's going on in the minds of the gunmen. But some questions will remain unanswered until those suspects are caught.
In both cases, it was two guys who were very much covered up with hooded sweatshirts and face masks and things. So until we get our hands on the guys, we won't know for sure if they're connected or not.
Well, tonight on WMBF News at 11, we will have a detailed report on police efforts to find the men responsible for taking the lives of the two Sun House clerks.
Right now, the Conway Police Department needs your help in finding a man accused of armed robbery near the CCU campus. It happened at the Coastal Club Apartments. The victim told police the man came over with a friend to play video games. But after a few minutes, he then took out a gun, grabbed several items in the apartment, and left. No shots were fired, no injuries reported, but if you recognize this guy, call the Conway Police Department right away. And new this morning, we are learning the number of human trafficking cases reported in the Palmetto State to the National Human Trafficking Resource Center. A recent report shows 38 cases of sex trafficking and 14 cases of labor trafficking happened last year. Since 2007, the same agency has received reports of about 189 cases of human trafficking here in South Carolina.
Meanwhile, in Florence County, work to switch fire services and every county agency to a digital signal is underway. It replaces the old analog signal used to send information from dispatchers to first responders. County leaders say the new signal will help improve communication when you need it during an emergency. Police and deputies have already made the change. The $13 million upgrade will get rid of spotty coverage areas and noise that was in the background using the old analog system. That transition is expected to be complete by Friday. The tourism industry in Myrtle Beach will be the focus of a meeting in Columbia today. The Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce and other agencies are hosting a legislative reception. The agencies will be talking about what they need from lawmakers.
We have a number of priorities. Infrastructure is a big one for us. Obviously talking about ways to improve our roads here in the Myrtle Beach area, and also about ways to secure funding for Interstate 73. Tourism obviously is a big issue for us, so ways just to improve tourism across the Grand Strand and across the state in general.
WMBF News will, of course, have a crew at that meeting. Stick with us for the late-breaking developments.
We are learning a lot more after claims that some voters here in South Carolina are actually being denied the right to vote. A group that advocates for people with disabilities just released a new study that says more than half of the polling places in the state are actually inaccessible. The report surveyed more than 300 polling places during last November's election. It found that nearly almost two-thirds of the polling places had this problem. South Carolina law does give people with disabilities the option to vote while sitting in their cars in what's called curbside voting, but the study also found that 1 out of every 4 precincts didn't have curbside voting available.
People aren't asking for any preferential or special treatment. They're just asking for the opportunity to come out and vote, and if they need special accommodations or support, to be able to have those.
We have locations that have a set of 5 stairs, 10 stairs with no ramp available for them. In this report, we even found locations where the doors were not wide enough for a person using a mobility device to enter.
The report recommended several changes that include better training of poll workers and more readable, well-placed signs at all polling locations. House Republican leaders say the House will vote next week on legislation to build that Keystone XL pipeline. President Barack Obama, as you know, has already threatened a veto. The Senate voted last week to build the $8 billion project. It would connect existing pipelines to carry more than 800,000 barrels of crude oil every day from Canada to the Gulf of Mexico.
A bill to repeal the Affordable Care Act has passed the House. Now Republicans are hoping the Senate does the same. The legislation passed Tuesday in the House with no support from Democrats and 3 Republicans voting against it. This is the 67th time that the House has voted to repeal, defund, or change President Obama's health care law. It's unclear when or if the Senate will vote on the issue.
Developing overnight, a deadly plane crash in the middle of a busy city, and a camera caught the whole thing.
Sure did. Mandy Knoll joins us live right now with a raw video and an update. Mandy.
Theo and David, 13 people are confirmed dead, 28 are injured, and 17 are still missing right now as rescue workers search the river their plane crashed into in the middle of Taiwan. Let's go right now to that dash cam video. You can see in the top left corner of your screen the plane coming toward the bridge over a river. Trans-Asia flight turns on its side. One of the wings clips the bridge. It hits a taxi on the road. There it is again in front of the vehicle recording this. The plane plunges into the river. The taxi driver and passenger were injured and taken to the hospital. They are said to be in stable condition. Rescuers now in search of the missing in that river. This is still a developing scene right now. I'm tracking details for you here at the live desk, and I'll be back in a little while with an update. David?
All right, Mandy, thank you for that. A deadly commuter train crash in New York City. What on earth was an SUV doing on the tracks? We'll take you to that fiery scene coming up.
And warming temperatures and the chance for rain, they're all expected in the next 24 hours. I'm breaking it down for you in your First Alert forecast next.